What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Stick Talk episode. We don't know anymore. We stopped keeping track. But today we have Dr. Sterling Peterson on. Welcome on, man.
Appreciate it, man. I'm super excited to be here.
Absolutely. Grateful to have you. So we connected through Simon actually here in Tampa. We record the show right here in Tampa. Sterling lives nearby in Clearwater. Figured it'd be a great guest to talk about how you kind of merged the practice of chiropractic. Would you say chiropractic or chiropractic? I don't even know. But
Chiropractic.
merging medical practice with business and social media, it's going to make for a really interesting episode. So if you want to just start by giving us a little bit of your backstory, who you are, what you're about, what you're currently up to for the audience.
Yeah.
Just want to know you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. So to start, overall, I would say I'm a chiropractor. And that's kind of the main core of who I am and how I've been able to brand myself and to be able to grow my business. That's kind of like the platform that everything else is able to grow off of. But on a broader term, it's more like health and fitness and wellness.
Yep.
So that's the other stuff that interests me. And as I continue to grow my brand and grow other interests, that is like the category, just health almost, that I think that I have a ton of interest in expanding to. How I got here, I would say, well, I moved to Florida 2 years ago.
Nice.
Which I can't believe
From New York?
I can't believe it's been 2 years. No, from California.
Oh, nice.
So I moved from California 2 years ago, and we came here for the family business. So my parents are chiropractors.
Wow.
So it's a family biz. I've been adjusted my whole life. And we came here basically, we came here because of COVID, essentially. And all of the restrictions and basically all of the changes were not conducive to what we believed in.
Yep.
And also was not good for small businesses, for growth. It was tough to hire. It was hard to get certain types of employees. It was just, it's just a tough market. Everyone can make it, but in the end, it was like, is this where we are hoping to put our energy and our money for the rest of our life? And we decided no. So it was between Texas and Florida.
Yep.
We started off in Florida and stayed here. And so that's how I got here. And I'm a big fan of Florida.
Yep.
So
I said New York because we moved here from New York a year and a half ago, and every time we meet somebody, they're like, "Oh, we're from New York too."
Yeah.
We don't agree with all the lockdowns and stuff, and Florida's definitely the spot, man. So my first question is, to me, you're one of the most unique situations where you have a big social media presence. So it almost seems like you're more than the typical doctor, where you're very skilled at what you do, obviously, but you're able to put your own spin on it and like make a personality and brand off it. So just going back to becoming a chiropractor, like how long did you have to go to school? What's the process like? What do you do after undergrad to get the certification and become a doctor? Like, what was that whole process like? Yeah,
so it's a trek. You have to get an undergraduate degree, and then you have to obviously have to hit certain amount of requirements to get accepted into chiropractic school. So, you have to have a certain type of, if it's health or science or something, or you just add on certain classes. Then you go to chiropractic school, and that's a 3.5 to 4 year journey. If you don't fail a single class and you pass everything, which I did not. But I had some people who were there 5 years plus, just because it's hard. You know what I mean? And if you have kids and a family, like all I had to do was school, and that was hard enough.
Yep.
So other people, it was like their second career, and that, just adds extra stuff to it. So then you do that. Then you kind of just are able to start as a chiropractor. Like I went into chiropractic school, and I was like, I'm going to graduate, and I'm going to be an incredible chiropractor, just off the rip, Then I got out of chiropractic school, and I was like, oh, like people are going to pay me now to like adjust them, and they like trust me with like everything. And the good thing about school is it teaches you how to be a safe, competent chiropractor. But that's really it. Not an amazing chiropractor or in a specific type of a niche.
Or like a business owner as well, right?
Yeah. They don't tell you a lot about the business side. Not enough. And hopefully it's changed. But I would say a good amount of chiropractors who come out kind of can jump into a tough type of a situation. Like, in some type of an associateship where they have to sign a contract where they're kind of stuck for 2 years and they're like, oh, I didn't really know this is the situation, or So I wish I learned that in chiropractic school, and it was just kind of my own curiosity that drove me to kind of force myself to educate myself about business, entrepreneurship, like what other avenues are there? How do I be a little bit different? All that.
Were your parents a big help for you too? Just because they have so much experience, and could they take some of the credit for getting you off to a super quick start?
Absolutely. So that was huge because I didn't have to start with like having to open up my own office or having to take out a whole bunch of debt to do that. Cause I'm like, well, this is what everybody does. So let me do that. I'm glad I didn't do that. Or, so that was great. Cause I was able to kind of get my feet wet slowly and steadily. And then my dad, he's a chiropractor, and he was like, look, I'm going to start you off and I'm going to treat this as an apprenticeship over anything else. So I was like, I just shadowed him for 3 months before I even touched a patient. I just observed, I did the notes. I didn't even touch a patient for 3 months. Then he's like, okay, good. Now I'll slowly start to introduce you to patients. And then it was kind of like that slow transition instead of you jump in straight away and you're kind of overwhelmed and it's like a lot. So I had that, I was able to be afforded that kind of onset into chiropractic, and that absolutely helped a lot for sure.
I think one of the interesting things about like chiropractors in general, and like, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but from what I've heard, like, I feel like there's a negative connotation with chiropractors in general, like in the world of like science and doctors, because of like the risk and the danger of like some of the work that you do. So like, what would you say to people out there that might be having second thoughts of going to a chiropractor? Like, have you had to deal with, just trying to build trust with potential customers to get them to come in and work with you, or what has that been like a pain point, or what does that look like?
It's not as huge of a pain point as you might think. If a person is truly scared, they're just not even going to show up.
Yeah.
They're just not even coming in, and that's a different conversation. That might be, you have to educate them in a different way. But I would say, chiropractic is generally very, very safe. Now, there's anomalies and strange kind of situations that happen, but compared to other practices, it's extremely safe. And you can tell that by when you get like, as a chiropractor, you have to get some malpractice insurance. That in comparison to other doctors or hospitals or other types of, other types
you
of
as
fields.
the doctor are taking on more risk than the other doctors.
No, the other way around.
The opposite.
It's extremely cheap because cases against you are so few and far between that they're like, you're not really like a high risk.
Wow. I never would have expected that.
I was going to expect
because
the opposite.
It's so rare because and also when you're a good chiropractor, you understand, and this takes some time, but you understand like what type of people you can adjust. And then, a point that like my dad would always say as a chiropractor is a good chiropractor, he knows when to adjust and when not to adjust. So you have to know that distinction. That is what will be able to save you in the case of like, you're like, something does not feel right. Let's get you a little bit more, let's get some more information on this situation. And then that might show there was a fracture or something else that you're concerned about that is smart to check out,
So for you, like the thing that I'm always interested to hear is like entrepreneurship these days. A lot of entrepreneurs in general these days run passion businesses, right? So they've found a way to monetize a skill set, a hobby, an interest into a business model. And that sounds like exactly what you've been able to do. So like, what came first for you? Were you into entrepreneurship early on, or was that something you stacked onto? Like, I know everything about chiropractic things, and that's what I want to do for business. Like, I guess, how did it unfold for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question. I always kind of think about if I had to start my school journey like half a decade afterwards, if I would have still gone into chiropractic or not, or just some other health field or something. But when I was in college, it was still like, you go to college, you do this, you go to chiropractic school, chiropractic it was just a bit more traditional. Like, if I had a kid in school today, I'd be like, I don't know why you need to go to college.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to be a chiropractor or something that you
like
need a degree.
Classic like med school, like you're very focused and driven in your school.
And also I played sports in college. I played soccer, so I was like, well, I have to go for soccer, and then I'll find. So it's just a bit more like, I just thought this is the path that everyone took. But I didn't understand like entrepreneurship necessarily and what the potential is, and then also like how much I need to make as a person to enjoy the type of stuff
Your
that
lifestyle,
I like.
right? Yeah.
I had no idea, and honestly, I would credit Grant Cardone. I read 10X when I was in chiropractic school.
That's great.
And I was like, maybe there's something that like.
He does a great. Our producer's back there laughing because he does like the best Grant Cardone impression ever. Yeah.
Anyways,
Also,
yeah,
I bet a lot of people are curious. How much does a typical chiropractor make?
so as an employee or an owner of their own business,
Let's say you're
it's
an owner of
extremely
like
different.
a small single practice.
If it's just you and you have one person maybe at the front desk and you have it optimized, I think you can make a decent amount. You can make probably 150 to 200, 225, depending on how optimized. But you're hustling, that's a lot. And you're the only guy there. If it's you there, a 2-room office, your overhead. But what's good is that you keep it all, except for your employee. But the bad side is you hit a ceiling kind of quickly. And then it's a big conundrum of like, do I add somebody because they take away from my profit, but how much are they going to get me? And it's this kind of back and forth. As an employee, as a chiropractor, you're probably like where you're under somebody.
Yeah.
It's not amazing, but it's like anywhere from 80 to 100.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't think is enough. I want chiropractors to make more, and that's why I want to teach chiropractors other ways to go out on their own and other avenues. Like that's why I do Concierge, which is like my new venture, which is where I'm traveling to people. Now I don't have it figured out yet, but stay tuned because I want to teach others how to go into business for themselves if that's the type of person that they are and what is possible in doing that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I saw you were over in Miami doing adjustments for a volleyball tournament or something. Is that?
I bet you did see that.
All Tell us a little bit
Yeah,
more
I
about
was
what you saw.
I was really interested in seeing how
What else
my,
did you see?
Yeah,
my friend was
working.
Can you go into a little bit more detail just for the audience, especially
Yeah.
those on audio?
Yeah. So, so basically, what he's talking about is I went to this event called Model Volleyball, which is pretty self-descriptive, and it's a charity event in Miami, and I know the guys who put it on. And basically, all the modeling agencies in Miami, they all get together for charity, of course, and they compete, and then they win, and then they're able to donate. But it's turned into such an event where like you have artists coming. There's a bunch of brands there. It's a 2-day event. They just have like a DJ there. It's just a ton of energy.
It's just Miami.
It's a total Miami thing. Like can only be done in a place like Miami.
But that's the type of gig you're looking for. Is like go off on your own, do a bunch of adjustments for a weekend in Miami, come back. Like that's the path you're looking to take with your business moving forward. You'd say. Yeah,
I mean, that's the opportunity to be able to just go to an event like that is what's cool.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm able to put myself in that situation where like if you're in a traditional office, they're like, how do we capitalize on this? But when you're a solopreneur, you know, you're your own brand and everything, I can go and I can get a ton of patients or just interested people that are like, I want to collaborate with you. And the other thing, which I think is important about content, is it's a great avenue to meet people and to make friends because it's like, let's collaborate on something instead of like, let's just hang out and have drinks. It's like,
let's do a podcast.
I'd rather do something.
Let's do a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Just like this, you can actually get like a productive situation out of it, which I think is
yes. Just staying on the topic of content, like what's super interesting for me is how big your social media following is with Instagram, TikTok. When did you start really growing it aggressively, and what would you say is the biggest contributing factor of your growth? I kind of know the answer. It's all your videos, adjustments, and the people that
What
are
about
being
them,
adjusted.
Christian?
Yeah. Tell us
Because
more.
I would actually say it's the consistency aspect.
Yeah.
Like scrolling through your Instagram,
Yeah.
it's like 2019.
Yeah.
It's the same exact stuff, which is like you show up every day, do the same thing for
Yeah.
a long enough period of time.
Enough years, and then something will catch. So I started actually doing this adjusting thing, I think 2019. It's on my Instagram. The first one I ever did was at Coachella. 2018 or 2019 before it got stopped for a couple
So
years.
you've been dealing with the same clientele since?
Yeah. I said this is a successful action. I should continue.
But people like to look at them, and there's a reason why their back is all messed up.
Jesus, bro.
But
I might be good.
We're not like this usually, bro.
we're not like this. No. But I'll say though, at that time, it was a bit not as it is today, which is hard to tell because now you see everyone on TikTok or on Instagram. Everyone's doing cracks and ASMR stuff and all that, right? But back then, it was almost like in chiropractic, it was kind of like you were afraid to put your technique out there because in the chiropractic profession, everyone is like, can be a bit harsh on like, oh, your angle of the adjustment wasn't proper, or you didn't take it to the right tension, or that's not the right technique for that move, and so you're kind of like, ugh, it's kind of like hard to put yourself out there. So I was actually concerned about that, but I was like, F it, I'm just gonna go for it. And then at that time, it did way better than all my content. I was like, I might be onto something. And so then I slowly started to do a little bit more. And then, I did some in the office and I was like, cool. But I was like, I want to do stuff that's not what everybody sees like in the office. So I was like, all right, I'm going to only do cool adjustments in cool places, like on the beach, at Coachella, at an event, on a boat, whatever. And that's kind of been like the fun. And I'm like, I want to make chiropractic like cool and fun and like a cool thing because I think it's amazing,
Were Instagram Reels a thing back then or no?
No, it was just Instagram posts.
So did you notice like things started to grow exponentially once they released that?
Yeah, Instagram Reels was great. And then I noticed on TikTok too. But now I'm kind of not out on TikTok completely, but I think Instagram. And then I think one thing I haven't capitalized enough on is YouTube, which I will get in on harder, but that they're now doing Reels and all that. So I think that Instagram and YouTube are probably the two strongest platforms for people like myself.
And then I saw you got 110 million views on a reel, which is like far more than I've ever seen on a reel before. So how did that just go viral right away, or did it just take off out of nowhere? Like what?
That was crazy, man. Over 100 million views. I'm like, I fucked up because I did not capitalize on like making any money from that. Aside from like views and people reaching out, but like I didn't have a product I was selling.
Yeah.
I'm like, I messed that up big time. Just give me 1 cent for every person, I would be a millionaire. But that took off pretty quickly within like a week or two. And I was like, oh my God, 4 million views, like 10 million views. I was like, this is crazy. And then it just went to like 40 million views. I was like, all right, I'm just like, I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm just not going to mess with it because it's going to keep going. And then it's just been slowly growing. And then a week or two ago, it went from 70 mil to 100 mil just out of the blue. And this is like an 8-month-old reel, which never happens on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's like a TikTok thing, right?
Why do you think that one? Just because you were on a boat?
Yeah. Well, it's a girl in a bikini on a boat.
Right.
It's the perfect combination of like you get hooked in like extremely quickly and you're like, oh, she's attractive. And then you're like, what's happening here? And then you're like, oh, this is a cool kind of a visual thing. They're on a yacht. And then you hear a loud crack and then
that's
she has a reaction and then you're just like, and then it's over and you're like, I want to watch it again. And then there's so many shares. Like I should show you the stats.
Are there stats of how many people like replay it?
Oh yeah, dude. I should show you. It's actually mind blowing. Like how much it's just,
I've never seen that many.
I can't even contemplate the numbers on it. Yeah. It's kind of wild.
So I guess where do you go from there? Because like you've been doing a lot of like the same content. Like you want to go onto YouTube, which I'd imagine like you want to do more long form. Like do you have plans to
check out those insights, bro? Kind
of start to differentiate in the style of content you're putting out, or is it just doubling down on stuff like that?
Yeah. So so I actually just had this epiphany that I want to kind of be able to innovate a little bit more on the content. So I'm going to keep doing what is successful, but I want to like try some new stuff. So I have some new forms of like filming content, which I'm excited about, which I don't want to say until I like kind of figure it out. But hopefully I can drive a new tier and new quality of content, which I'm super excited
All right,
about.
let's play a little over-under here. So it got 106 million views. Over-under 100,000 or a million likes.
Over. Say 1.7.
Right at 1 million.
Oh, wow.
Over under 300,000 saves.
Over.
Like saved.
Under.
That's 201,000. Still pretty crazy.
That's insane.
And then accounts reached over under 75 million.
Over if it got viewed 100 million times, right?
Well, accounting for people that keep
replays?
replaying it.
Over.
It's probably under if there's
85
replays.
million accounts reached.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's
That's
nuts.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's insane. So your biggest takeaway was like, that's great, but fuck, I wish I monetized it more, right?
Yeah, and then I realized, and then I talked to these guys that are like, you know, who have cracked the code on other things, such as online courses,
Yeah.
or some type of a digital platform, or like a digital product to sell, which is obviously the easiest because you don't have to fulfill shipments and other stuff like that. But then, you know, but then I like to try to go against the grain, and I'm
Yeah.
like, is that now overplayed? And I'm like, is there like a physical product that I could sell? So
This
I'm
was going to
kinda
ask you
toying
about,
between,
or is that your company that's like the board that you bring around?
No, but I should get.
That's like
some
you have like an
shares, yeah.
affiliate right now? That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because I
they're
think that
awesome.
makes so much sense. It's like a mobile office for chiropractors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a cool course for you would be like avoid having to come see me and like here's a mobility course.
Yeah, I actually have something just like that.
That's sick.
I talked to.
And you mentioned Concierge a little bit ago. Can you just dive a little bit deeper into what
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah, so Concierge for myself would be chiropractic, or in this case, Concierge wellness. So it's a bit more inclusive than just an adjustment. And what that is traveling to a person or their office to adjust their team, or to someone on their boat or what have you, right? And what's cool about that in a city that can't afford it, not everywhere can afford it,
Yeah.
but a place like Miami, it for sure is huge there. Tampa might be, but on a smaller scale. But it's for a person that they value their time a lot, or they're extremely busy, or they're a mom, or they're a parent, or they're just like, I don't like going out in traffic. So they're like, it saves them a ton of stress and other stuff to have a person come to them. And also in the chiropractic field, just like other fields, when you have a person who you trust, you want to stay with that person. And
Yeah.
chiropractic is a big trust industry.
Yeah.
So
Did you find that the quality of referrals was way better too? Because if
Way-
I'm like
way
a
better.
multi-million-dollar CEO, the person I refer you to, because
Yeah.
like, oh, this Dr. Sterling guy is great. He's helped me out. He's probably also going to be a high net worth individual.
yeah, and extremely, yeah, and then and they're so generous. Like it changes the whole framework, because when you're in an office, it's the flow of like you trying to get patients in, right? Like you're like, okay, how do I get new patients in? How do I do an ad or this, or how do I run a special? Like you're trying to get people in, but then with the other way, it's kind of like your clients, if you do a good job, are like, I want to help out you. Like I want to give you people. So I had a client who was like, that was great. I'm gonna call my brother and his wife and have them come here right now to get treated, and I'll just pay for them. I was like, that's so good. Like I didn't have to do any advertising, and I just got like, like a whole bunch of clients who brought in their family, which is the ultimate sign of trust. If they're like, I want you to treat a family member, that's like the ultimate sign of like, I trust you with my family is huge, right?
Yeah.
So that I was like, okay, this is great. So it's just totally different, and I'm still exploring it. Like I haven't even gone 100% in on it. I'm going to be full-time there in about a month or so.
Awesome.
Into Miami doing just concierge. So I've been like having to set everything up, and I have some clients, but I haven't been there 24/7 yet. So I'm
It'll
still
blow up
exploring
for
it.
you as soon as you get there, dude.
Certainly hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Something that's super interesting is like our audience is, for the most part, I'd say like online entrepreneurs. And like, I keep looking at you and I'm like fixing my posture. And like throughout my work day, I'm like at my desk hunched over. I'm like, shit, like let me fix it. And then right back to it, right? Yeah. So for our audience, like they could probably relate. Like posture is like a big focus for them because they're sitting at their desk all day. And, I have a standing desk. I'm not always standing though. And so like, what are some recommendations you'd have to like these entrepreneurs to fix their posture? And then I also think there's so many business opportunities for you in that space. Like I could just see, I'm thinking like we host in-person events. for our coaching program of other online entrepreneurs, and like it'd be sick to have you at an event and just like cracking backs.
Yeah.
You know, like I think people would love that. It'd be such a
I'm
dope
there.
experience.
If you send me the invite, I'll be
100%.
there, bro.
No, we'll talk after, but like I think that's a big space just because everyone's sitting at their desk all day, and that's probably where a lot of the problems are caused.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where our world is going. Everyone will be on technology and all that. And I grew up, I started my whole career in the Bay Area. So I saw people that worked at Apple and Facebook, all tech people. So it's huge. It's so hard to beat gravity. Like in the end, gravity will be able to beat you down, and force you to have poor posture. But you basically have to actively like fight against it. And you have to have enough, you have to be conscious enough to know like, okay, I need to set aside time, either having an alarm to stretch or just be active enough that like every couple hours you stand up or you sit down, and you have to figure out what is the best for you. So it's a little bit different and it caters to each individual. A person who's like, I'm not really active at all, I don't really care about working out. It's like, it's going to be really tough to have that person fix their posture because you can't have a person have incredible posture and then them be also out of shape everywhere else. Yeah. It's like a full body situation. So I'm all about trying to get your whole body right for what you want to accomplish out of your life. But I think, everybody should be as fit and strong and in good shape as they possibly can.
That's the best thing you could do for posture.
Yeah. To put exercise in as a part of your life, as a daily habit, but then also like consciously know what you're doing exercise wise. And if you don't have the knowledge or care about it, have somebody who does know to give you some input. You should do these exercises. And I'll say there is a difference between, like stretching before an exercise and then doing a bunch of mobility for your spine and your movement. It's a different target. So if I'm going to stretch to go for a run, I'm going to stretch my quads, maybe my hamstrings, my calves. Okay, great, I'm good. But if you're like, I want to stretch for full body for the health of my spine, you're doing way different exercises and stretches and mobility workouts. So you just have to have a bit of nuance and understand like what it is that you're going after.
Interesting. Yeah. I've been going to a chiropractor since I was like 15 because I had problems with my SI joint. And still to this day, I fully believe in chiropractors. My brother will clown on me because he's like a legitimate doctor.
That's what I was saying. Right?
Somebody who's going through med school. But I feel like that's kind of the skepticism is only from people who haven't actually been to a chiropractor. No, it's like once you try, I personally don't know anybody that has bad things to say about the practice. Scott's nodding his head behind the camera because he goes frequently as well. Yeah. I guess one like additional question to that, you mentioned like setting an alarm or just like being conscious of the fact that you have poor posture while you're working at your computer. Is there like a good rule of thumb that you would give the people like us who are probably on their computer? I'd say like at least 8 hours a day.
I would say like every hour, if you could get up and move your body, then you'll be able to reset the parts of your body that become fatigued. So you have these parts of your body that are responsible for your good posture. And after a certain amount of time, they just fatigue. But if you can stand up and you're able to move around, you're able to reset that. So then all of a sudden it can hold your posture better again. But after 2 hours, you're just like, you can't help but like slouch. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to stand up and activate the body enough to know like, okay, great. Now I'm going to be able to get my body more awake to, and then it's easier to hold your posture after you stand up, stretch, you get like a sip of water or you go for like a 5-minute walk or you're on a phone call, just, you can have an AirPod in and just go like, you can take some circles around your apartment. You know what I mean? Like that's, I think you just have to actively seek it out to improve your health in that manner.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. What do you think about, it's super random, but like I don't know, I see ads for like these like back straps that put your shoulders backwards and it's like forced through the strap. I feel like it's just like, what are your thoughts on those?
Posture correctors. Those are okay. The ones, the problem is that I would say if you're trying to purchase that as your only means of like change, and you're like, well, now I'm gonna have good posture. I don't think it's not gonna work. You have to actively strengthen up the part of your back that's responsible for holding your posture. Now, I do suggest that for certain patients that when their posture hits a certain, like a threshold, it aggravates pain and it causes them like a great amount of discomfort.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, at the end of your day, when you're fatigued, maybe they're a little bit older or they're not in the best shape. I'm like, then throw in this posture thing to help you out for those 2 hours of the day. But I don't want you to have this on all day. So this is it's like a slight crutch to help you out, but I want you to also do these exercises and do these other things. And that's how you're going to actually change it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's not just like one easy fix, right?
Right.
You got to do
As with
other
all things in life, right?
Yeah, there's not like an easy shortcut.
Yeah.
Like a $20 thing on Amazon.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Going back to the personal brand content side of things, like what are some opportunities that have arisen from your social media presence, like in terms of maybe inbound clients DMing you or booking, adjustments from your social media, getting invited to things like Coachella or the volleyball event, meeting cool people, influential people? Like what are some of the most notable benefits you've noticed from growing your social media?
Yeah, I would say that's a good question. And at this point, I tie everything into my social media, so it's hard to know like what, is or isn't from that. But I would say just the caliber of people that I'm able to connect with, and the people that I'm able to help out. I think if I didn't have my social media account, it would be way, way harder. Yeah. And so all the events that you talked about for sure happen because of social media. And then also like, I just get people, it just attracts other types of businesses. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I know like in the future, after I'm in Miami for like a year or so, that just by connecting with other people, having clients that are also pretty successful, that opportunities will continue to flow my way just because I'm there.
Yep.
And a huge part of it is having a social media presence, because brands nowadays want that exposure. So I just know that will help me. It's like a part of your attraction to a brand or to anyone that is interested in a partnership.
So who's the coolest person you've ever adjusted, like entrepreneur, athlete?
I don't want to name drop a lot of people, but I'll tell you a couple stories that are kind of funny. And one has to do with Grant Cardone, actually. So this was before I was even officially a chiropractor. I just got out of chiropractic school. I was kind of waiting to get my stuff. I was here in Florida, and I knew the person that was taking care of his kids. And she hits me up. She's like, hey, Grant's in town, and he hurt his back. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not even a chiropractor. I just graduated chiropractic school. So, like, he should probably go see somebody that's legit. I mean, this is like Grant. Like, he deserves, like, the best, right? And I was like, but, like, I'll treat him just not as a chiropractor, as a friend, and then, like, we'll see what happens, right? And I was like, if you tell him all that and he's cool with it, then sure, I'll see him. And then she says, okay, he's on his way. I was like, oh shit. I'm like in my apartment. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like, I don't even have an office. And I have to set everything up in my apartment. And he shows up like he and his wife, and it was like great. Like, I didn't even end up like doing, official adjustments, but I helped him out in other ways. And it was just, I was like, this is crazy. The fact that he would come over, but it helped him out. Then after that, he brought over his twin who came
Gary.
over. Yeah, he brought over Gary. So I took care of them both. Anyway, that was super cool. And then after I became an official chiropractor, another cool one and another thing that actually helped to propel my content even further has happened during 2020. And this is right when COVID happened, and we saw at our office, like, our patients dropped, like, it's just in half. Everything got cut in half. Everyone was like, everyone was scared at that time. As you know, everything got cut in half. And I was like, I need to, like, do something a little different. This is like, I need to, like, I'm
Innovate.
like humbled. I need to try just a bunch of stuff. So I just, at that time, TikTok houses were huge. Like, if you remember, I forget the
The
name
Hype
of that.
House, the Sway House.
Yes. So
what was
Hype House.
what was like the Logan Paul and Jake Paul one back then?
Yeah, it was even before that. It was with
Team 10 House.
Team 10. Yeah.
That was a couple years before all the TikTok
Okay.
stuff. Though.
Yes, so it was that. And
My bad. I don't.
and then-
I was a big fan of the Bryce Hall
The
and Josh
exact
Richardson.
timeline of the TikTok houses.
I was
but
following them close, man.
I gotta brush up on my history.
Yeah. So, so I just emailed. There were only like 2 or 3 at the time. So I emailed them all, and I was like, "Yo, I know you guys do
Cold
content.
email.
Yeah,
Love it.
I do content also. If you guys ever have an episode that requires a chiropractor, hit me up. And that time I was not even in LA, but I was like, I'm in LA. You just tell me when. I'll just pull up to the house, easy, right? And then the clubhouse hit me up and was like, yeah, that actually works great. Can you be here on Saturday? I was like, flight booked. I'm there. Like I showed up, and then that was awesome because they were just
Daisy Keach.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You have any riz with her? Or?
Yeah. No, actually, I didn't adjust her, but that was the house with her, and then Charlie Jordan, who's awesome. I've adjusted her a couple times. Abby Rao, just and then a whole bunch of other people too. And that was like, and then I got on their platform of like the Clubhouse platform.
Oh, nice.
And then I had some great content, and that did great too. And then what's great about that is after you start to build up the content, like it's almost as if it's like a trust factor.
Yep.
Because then other content creators are like, hey, I saw you do a post or content with blah. How did it go?
Yeah.
Assuming you did a really good job and you're a good person, they would go, it went great. You should do it. Then great, done. And then you just are able to build off of all of that each time. And that's why I'm always like trying to be the best that I can with every encounter, because I never know who's going to talk to who.
Yep.
So I'm always.
Yeah, we have to nerd out on you real quick. So we do cold email marketing as a business, basically. So exactly what you did with the houses, but for marketing companies or Facebook ads for chiropractors. I'm sure you get hit up with a ton of those
all the time.
So yeah, how much care went into those emails? Were you like really personalizing them, really making them tailored to them, or did you just fire them off the hip and hope they landed?
No, I personalized it for sure, because I mean, at that time, that was not a strategy of mine.
Yeah.
I just I'm sending out 3 emails, and to the only people that I know that are in this platform of TikTok and social media, and so I checked out their houses, I checked out who's in charge of the management team, I looked at who are the content creators on the team, and I kind of touched on all of that, and I said, and then I also to prove that I am who I say I am, I was like, here's my social, here's my this, check out my page, you know what I mean? And that's why I think it's so important to have a stable platform and page, because it's like a business card.
Yeah.
So everyone just checks you out, and within 2 or 3 seconds, they know if you're legit or not.
Yep. And I just lost my train of thought. Someone go ahead. I had a point to make.
That grape is just.
I was gonna say
This is good, yeah.
The grape. Yeah, we're all smoking the same cigar. The guy downstairs, shout out Dom, gave a good sales pitch on this one.
what's this called? The Ropa Vieja?
Añejo, I believe.
Añejo
from
Añejo.
A Fuente.
It's supposed to be the best Arturo Fuente cigar.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maintaining that relationship, right? Because you could have easily done.
Oh,
that.
I have that same question. It's
Yeah.
what does the recurring model look like when you crack someone's back or neck or whatever? Is that it, or is there constant need?
So if it's for content, that's a little bit different, because you shoot a podcast and then
You don't bring on the same guest.
Right.
Yeah.
But from a different perspective, from healthcare of trying to actually change something in the body or keep somebody as healthy as possible, keep everything as optimal as possible, you want to do some sort of a recurring amount of care. Just like you don't exercise one time and you're like, I'm good for the year. That's just not how the body works, unfortunately. Same thing with chiropractic is we put our bodies through a lot with how we sit, when we exercise, when we travel, everything that we do, we play sports. That just tends to bang the body around a lot. So you need to just make sure that everything is operating, communicating, and able to function as well as possible. And that's why I do chiropractic, because I think that's kind of the best way, but there are a ton of other ways that help.
The original point I was going to make, I just remembered, is when you said you were in LA, I'll be there, no big deal. I'll be right at your house. I live in LA. just shooting your shot and being readily available for those moments, right? I've heard, we've had people on here that have cold emailed big marketing guys asking for an internship or a job, and just picked up and moved across the country to go do it. Like just being ready to, follow through on a Hail Mary that lands, right?
Absolutely. And I would say if I were to put myself in somebody else's shoes, who's like, hey, I want to apprentice you, or I want to be, an editor of your podcast. And they also then say, but tell me if you're serious, because I'm going to have to quit my job. I'm going to have to move. I'm going to have to find an apartment. You're like, bro, too many problems. Just tell me if you can be here or not.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want them to I don't want to put any of my problems on anybody else. It's like, I know I can show up if they need me to, and I will arrange and fix everything else out. But if you create problems for others, they don't want problems. They just want something to help them out.
Or someone to show up. Yeah.
Right. So in that case, if you're like, you just tell me I'm available on the weekends. So I didn't say, I have to fly down on the weekends. I just said my availabilities are on the weekends. That's when I'm not seeing patients, which is true. I just am not in LA. but so I was like, I can book a flight. It's an hour flight anytime I'll be there. So I didn't tell them I had to book a flight and I had to rent a car and I had to stay on a friend's couch. Like I didn't say any of that. I just said, I'll be there. Yep. You say 10 a.m. I'll be there. And that's what counts.
That's so cool, man.
You obviously know Andrew Tate, right?
Yeah.
So we have a buddy of ours who, during COVID, cold emailed Andrew Tate and said, I want to be your videographer. Made him a really well-done video. And Andrew Tate said, cool, I'm in Colombia right now. Find your way here and see if you're resourceful enough to work for me. And, he had to go from America to Colombia during COVID, and he had no clue how to get to the airport, no clue who to look for. He's like, I'll have a guy at the airport ready for you. See you in 2 days. And our buddy went to Colombia during COVID. Obviously a mess to travel internationally to a country like Colombia during COVID.
Yeah.
And found the driver. The driver took him 4 hours to some hotel off in jungle, and he works for Andrew Tate now as his videographer. But it's just being ready to
that's that hustle
to say yes to an opportunity and say fuck it.
And then he deserves it if he made it go right. And it's also like a test. He tested him. He's like, it's going to be hard to work for me. So if you can, this is the first test. If you pass it, great. If not, then don't show up.
Yep.
Crazy. It is a cool story. A lot of cool things happen through you have to ask, right? And then, like you said, Christian, you have to also be ready for when someone says yes. It almost catches you off guard. You're like with Grant Carter, you're like, holy shit, wait.
Yeah, really? I was like, my apartment's not even ready. I gotta clean this.
How was that interaction? Was like, what's going on, brother?
Yeah. I think I need to hear this impersonation.
Scott, take my seat real quick.
That's funny.
No, but it was actually great. He's actually extremely nice, and he's a big personality. But in person, he's actually extremely nice. And I told him, I was like, look, you can't pay me. I can't accept payment because I'm not even a licensed doctor. I just can't accept payment, right? So.
He's like, check your drawer when you leave. It's like $100.
Yeah. So, but then he saw on my book,
like a copy of his book.
I had a Grant Cardone book, right? And so,
did you prop that there in preparation?
No, actually, I didn't clean up. But he saw that was there when I took care of his brother. He and I didn't even see this until a few days after the fact. But on the inside of the cover, he stapled just a $100 bill, and he wrote, 10x your life, some Grant stuff. And I still have it stapled on the thing. I never spent it too, but I just was like,
frame that.
That's cool. Yeah, exactly. Although because of inflation now it's only worth half, but but it was still cool. I'm just gonna frame that at some point. But it's just anyway, he's a good guy.
So how'd you get into Grant Cardone? I guess going a little bit more on the entrepreneurship side of things, running a business and being a content creator. Sounds like Grant was one of the inspirations for you. Who else do you look up to in the entrepreneur space or content creators?
Yeah.
Who do you draw inspiration from, I guess is the right question.
I've been kind of on a kick currently of people that are that support you going off on your own. Cause this is my current next journey is to build something on your own. And that if you want something that is great, where you can earn a good amount of income and you can influence other people the way that you want to. It's not for everybody, but if you can go out and create that on your own, then you will be able to you have to do it on your own, essentially. So you have to figure it out. So I like, obviously, Alex Hormozi. I just read $100 Million Offers. That book is great.
Yeah, it's fun.
If you actually like just did not read any other books and you just like, if you were able to break that down and apply that to your business, which I'm currently doing, I was like, dude, there's some gems.
Hormozi's actually our friend's dad.
Really?
No.
I was like, wait, he's young.
He follows our friend on Twitter, and he'll DM him randomly, like, how's business? Because when Hormozi first joined Twitter, he's like, who should I follow? And people recommended our friend because he has a pretty big following on Twitter. So Hormozi follows him. He'll DM him randomly, like, how's business?
Bro,
And
imagine cracking his back. Oh my
Jesus.
god.
Yeah,
This guy's a
he's pretty thick.
beast.
Yeah.
He'll just get a DM, like, he'll give him business advice on our buddy. He'll be like, thanks, Dad. Like, implementing
Gotta
this.
take off some layers.
Yeah. Like,
And then I like Patrick Bet-David a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's great.
I actually met him at the model volleyball event. Awesome guy.
They had like
A booth.
A booth, right?
Yeah.
we were
That's
close
cool.
to actually canceling this because we were going to go down to Fort Lauderdale and interview Patrick Bet-David.
You were?
We were going to, but
Rescheduled.
reschedule.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Soon.
Yeah. No, you. He's
Shout out
he's
Kai.
awesome.
Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another cool
He's-
connection through
yeah.
cold email is recently we connected through on Twitter just because we put out content. And this is like a lot of these stories should be the reason I think we're telling them is to encourage the audience to go out and do similar things, right? Like put out content, send emails, because we put out content. Someone reached out because we talked about cold email, and he landed like a really high position with Patrick Bet-David by sending him a cold email, and he moved from Norway like on a whim's notice, like. Because PBD answered his email and said, sure, like, come work for me. And he did. And he's been working for him for 4 years. He's like his right-hand man. And it was all because of a cold email and just
amazing.
being able to do whatever it takes to show up and not cause problems for PBD. And so it's just stories like that. You know, you just ask, put it out there, and then do whatever you got to do to make it happen. Like, that's like every success story.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just have to put yourself out there, though. So many people won't.
Yeah.
But if you're just constantly shooting your shot enough, something is going to break your way.
Yeah.
If you are that type of person who wants to kind of go their own path, even if it's a 1% chance, okay, great. You got to
Yeah.
put up 100 shots.
Yeah.
And, you know, one's gonna make it.
Yeah, and you know, I had a friend who was like, who said the other day, he's like, you're just great at asking people for stuff or like for favors or just asking people, just like in general. I was like, I never thought of it that way, and I kind of thought about it, and I was like, I think it's because genuinely, like, I enjoy other people and I want them to do great and amazing, and I think like I hope they would want the same for myself. So I'm just kind of putting that out there, and I'm like, if there's any way I can help you, hands down, I will do it. I'm not just trying to like extract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to give as much as possible, and so I feel great asking for stuff because I give all the time too. So I just know it's a big circle. If you give, then other people will be able to give to you, and it doesn't have to be a I gave to A and then he gave back to me. It's kind of like it's like a whole ecosystem of all of us helping each other out. You know what I mean? So like I think that was the right approach and a mentality that I had, that I was like, so I don't feel bad because I know that I'm going to do right by that person. And I hope that they would do the same to me as well.
Yeah, the foundation of it is just good intention, right? And doing good work. Mastering your craft, not just, you know, just showing up and trying new things. Like you've spent years mastering your craft, and so now you can show up and do good work. One of the questions, like you were saying, is like a lot of people are scared to put out content. You mentioned earlier that like in the beginning, you're like, should I put this out? Should I not? Because of the potential backlash. And I guess my question is, you've been posting so consistently for like 3-4 years now, which is awesome. And there are a lot of guys that made the decision to, you know, put themselves out there and they're just not seeing the traction. For you, was it more of like there was one post that hit big and then it was just skyrocket, or was it a slow climb up in regards to just followers, views, stories like some of the ones you've mentioned?
I would say it goes in like tiers. It's slow, and then it jumps.
Yeah.
And then it's slow, and it jumps. But whenever you get a jump, or I would get a jump, I'd be like, wait, like, is it just a fluke, or am I like onto something a little bit different? So I always try to do something that still has the core concept of what was successful, but like, how do I tweak it? Like on the video that did 100 million views, I didn't even have a microphone. like on that person, and I was like, okay, I need to like up my quality here and get an actual microphone so people can hear like the cracking, because that's what they enjoy. That's a key part of it, right? So I was like, okay, good. So let me like keep the core concept, add another part to it. I'm gonna get a better quality camera and a better microphone. Okay, is that helpful? Great, it's continuing to help. And then just also trying to be different in a way, because if you are just regurgitating the same thing that everybody else is, that's why you're probably not growing that much. And that's why, as I said, like I'm trying to like do something a little bit different in the chiropractic content space. Yep. And in the beginning, like everyone was like, oh, you're adjusting hot girls. Like that's different. That's crazy, because not everybody, like, I guess, has that access or has that ability or isn't in Miami Beach. Yep. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of people in Miami Beach. And then to put yourself out there to like be in the 80-degree sun all day just adjusting, it's not comfortable. Yeah. But in the end, I got a lot of great content that was a catalyst for other stuff.
Yeah. I respect you, because a lot of people on Instagram have this huge follower count and they have like 4 likes on a post. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, but I go on your engagement, it's like 50K, 80K, 100K views consistently. Yeah. So I can tell that you've built a following the right way instead of.
Yeah. And I would say to not purchase fake stuff, because then once you do that, you have to do it forever, because then a person can tell as soon as you stop paying for the engagement. Yeah. They're like, you went to 2,000 likes every post, so now 25. Then you have to keep purchasing it to keep up the image. Yeah. And there, so I haven't purchased anything. And as a result, there are times where like a post, it doesn't do that great. Maybe only gets a couple hundred likes, but it's real. You know what I mean? And then there's other ones that do incredible. And I'm like, great. So let me just tweak that concept. Yeah. But I never get like, and you can tell, man, the comments, like when you're in like an engagement group, you can tell they're fake. Yeah. They go, awesome, bro.
This is so
high fives,
cool.
Clap, clap. So awesome. Great. Like that, you can just tell is not real. Yeah. And so there is no point, unless you're trying to boost your own ego, to be in these engagement groups, unless it's going to really help you grow through like actual growth of like impacting the people that you want. Yep.
So, I mean, I followed you on Instagram for a bit. I feel like a lot of your content is adjusting, working, or going to the gym. Like, what do you enjoy doing outside of work? Is it a lot of time spent working out, traveling, playing soccer? Like, what kind of hobbies do you have, and what are you really into outside of work?
Yeah. Right now I'm just in like the mindset of continuing to grow my business. And I guess it's kind of like, I guess that would fall into the category of work. But what I enjoy doing is like tying in cool things like this. Like this is like content. You could call this work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This could be an expense.
It's a lifestyle business.
Yeah. But like I also enjoy people. Like I want to be able to like, I think it's super important to have a community of friends and connections that you can, that you actually enjoy hanging out with. And it's not just like your office coworkers, but you're like, and then what's good about that is then you can help other people that are like, oh, I'm in the space of blah. You're like, dude, I got 5 friends in that space. I'm gonna connect you because you're a good guy. And so I just enjoy hanging out with other people that are accomplishing good, cool stuff in the world. And because of that, you then get invited to like cool stuff. So I like to do stuff right now where I feel like I'm productive. So, I don't really drink that much. But it's also because I'm in a stage where like I need to be on my game. I haven't hit a tier where I'm like, I can relax. I don't want to necessarily do that, but I enjoy myself while also being productive. So if that's going out, if a friend is like, I'm gonna go out on a boat with a whole bunch of friends that are awesome, I'm like, great, it's cool.
Business opportunity.
Yeah. So I'm just like trying to be in that channel and like trying to be also around really good people. I've been becoming a little bit more strict on like who's in my circle, because I think I have some catching up to do. But I think when you have the wrong people in your circle, it makes it seem okay to like do things that don't get you anywhere closer to your goal, and it detracts it like heavily from your goal. So I'm just like, but at the same time, if you're like a good person, I'm like, let's do stuff. Like I want to flow power and help to that person. But that's how I would say I've been spending my time lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're all at very similar
I think it's like a misconception. I was asked a similar question on a podcast, like, what do you do like outside of work, like to have fun? I'm like, I have fun working. Like I literally built this business around what I want to be doing every single day.
Make
like
my work fun.
Yeah, it's like I don't need to escape from what I do for work. That's the reason why we do entrepreneurship and online business and mix in our passions. So I think that's awesome, dude. I guess like, what do you see? Moving to Miami, obviously, there's going to be tons of opportunities that come your way. Also, probably a lot more temptations on the other side of that.
For sure. It's
the
like,
drinking and the going
it's
out.
a part of it. Opportunity and distractions, they come in hand in hand.
Bro, all the Latinas here have perfect posture.
Thanks to me.
I know, he comes in, he saves
Guy
the city.
gets around. So I guess, like, do you have long-term or short-term, long-term goals for moving out there, and just like where are you going with the business is I guess what I want to ask.
Yeah. So, I think about it and, I have tiers of where I see myself in a few moves, but it's like, I have to actually like do the first move first before I get to move 5.
Yep.
So obviously I want to be able to build out an amazing clientele and a business that people trust in Miami. Then what I would love to do is hire another awesome chiropractor or other practitioners to expand my services. But it's like, it has to be a certain type of a person. It can't just be your average chiropractor. You know what I mean?
Someone that you could be boys with, basically, right?
And they have to fit like the niche of Miami concierge person that also is able to walk the walk, not just I'm a chiropractor, but I'm like overweight, don't take care of myself. And
I was just gonna say, I feel like a big thing is being in shape and
absolutely
having a good posture.
practicing what you preach.
Absolutely.
Because like going to a doctor and they're like way overweight, trying to give you advice on your diet, it's like
holds no water.
Yeah.
So like down the road, like even a couple steps past that, would you ever entertain like a franchising model? Just because you already have so much reach, which makes like a very cool competitive advantage for you.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. And what I'm actually interested in, and this also touches on who I get inspiration from, is this girl, Cody Sanchez. I don't know if you.
Oh, I love Cody Sanchez. Her content.
So good.
So good.
So good. So I like the aspect of purchasing smaller businesses and like acquisitions in the health and wellness space.
Yep.
So I want to be able to acquire them, but each of them like flow power to each other. So it's kind of an ecosystem of small businesses, because I think that's what's also cool about America, is that it's small business centric, and that's how you are able to, contribute to the American dream and that economy, is you're able to employ a bunch of small businesses and you're able to do it in that manner. So that's why I like it. And that's kind of the other avenue I would say, is acquisitions at some point down the road as well, of other small businesses that flow into, like, maybe I get an IV business or I get something else that flows towards it and it just is able to build.
Yeah, we'll connect you with our buddy named Chandler. He actually did the same thing. Instead of starting his own business, he acquired another business, but he's in the process of launching like a consulting offer for people looking to get into it, and they got a whole team that helps out with the deal. So free plug to our boy Chandler, but he's also a Tampa guy, so pretty cool.
Well, I'm gonna be in Tampa a lot too. I'm gonna move my roots to Miami, but I'm gonna be here too because my family's here, and there's also honestly a great entrepreneur community in Tampa, which I was kind of surprised about until I met, like Simon and all these other guys. I was like, I didn't even know.
Yeah, Danny and I went to Simon's event, the Tampa Entrepreneurs. It was cool.
I'm going to be at the next one. It looked awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
Cool.
You guys want to do lightning round?
Lightning round.
Nice. So
fuck the lightning. We got to change the name.
Guy's next door neighbors with the lightning and he hates them. But so we always finish our episodes with a lightning round. Basically just a few quick questions that are meant to be quick, but they tend to stump some people, so no pressure. But the first one is, if you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oof.
Other than us 3.
Yeah, besides you 3?
I know you want to choose us, but...
I'd kill all you then.
I would say Kobe, because his approach to everything was incredible. His ability to impact the entire world was incredible, and just his whole approach to everything is untouched. So I would say him. I would say someone. I don't really necessarily have a name, but a person who was like a founding father of like the, I guess early days America, when they put together the concept for America. I'd be so interested to know like
Yeah.
what did they kind of envision?
Not this.
Yeah. How far off are we? How can we fix it?
It's not good, man.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Stuff like that. And then who else? I would say, I don't know. At this point, it's all about people that like I respect. So, you know, it might be a person such as, I mean, it would be, this might be controversial, but it'd actually be cool to have a dinner with like Andrew Tate, just because, also just everything, also because of impact and how much he's able to impact. I think despite all of the clips, and there are some people that like ultimately hate the guy, you can have a conversation with the person that you hate. I don't hate him, but you could, and still gain a lot of information,
new perspectives too.
And I also just think the way that he wants to impact the world and help humanity is actually admirable. So I think that would be awesome to have a sit down with him.
That'd be a
Solid
cool group. A lot of cigars involved.
Yeah, it would be.
Awesome, man. Next question in the lightning round is LeBron or Jordan?
That's not even a question, but
For what?
Who's
For-
the GOAT?
Who's the go?
Jordan.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be, I think, just because of I don't know if you've seen, like, I like LeBron a lot too, but I just think it was a different game, and also I think that Jordan was so invincible, and like he actually like instilled crazy fear into everyone. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna have a good game against him, I'm gonna shut him down. It's like, oh shit, man, gotta go against. I know he's gonna whoop my ass. Like I already know he's gonna whoop my ass, and there's nothing I can do about it because he is crazier than I am. Like he's a psycho about being amazing and great.
yeah.
And so I just think if you aren't of that same caliber, you just can't beat him.
Yeah.
But I think LeBron is one of the craziest athletes of all time.
You mentioned that you played soccer in college, and
Yeah.
we've also got like a lot of people internationally that listen to it. And soccer's obviously the biggest sport over there. So I got to ask, are you a Ronaldo or Messi guy?
I'm just gonna start this train
Yeah.
of like
Oh shit, another controversial topic. When I was playing, I was way more of a Ronaldo guy for sure.
Ronaldo guy.
Yeah, just because I mean, like, he was also just kind of like a bit more flashy, which I thought was cool. Like, I got all these orange shoes and like green shoes. I was like, that at that time in college, like that was who I was, and I was like,
You still got the orange shoes.
yeah, I still got the orange
what
shoes.
position did you play?
Outside mid and forward.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so neither of those questions were actually lightning round questions. I just heard you mention Kobe and sports and stuff, so I
Yeah.
thought it'd be funny to ask.
Yeah.
Because we, like, us three have this argument all the time.
Yeah.
Actual lightning round question, I think, would be if you could just put out one tweet that everyone on the platform would see once, what would you say and why? Tweet, think of like 2 or 3 sentences, basically.
Yeah, I would say that growth is on the other side of discomfort, and that you have to go through discomfort in order to grow. So embrace it and don't turn that discomfort into suffering because you're trying to fight it. Embrace the discomfort and understand it's part of your growth. And on the other side of that, you'll be like, damn, I'm really glad I did that.
I heard a really like similar quote that was like, pain is necessary, but suffering is not.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people just choose suffering voluntarily because they're trying to avoid pain, but like suffering is a lot worse.
And it's just all in your approach of your mind of how you approach it, because you could be like, I do like cold baths and stuff, and like I don't enjoy the cold, so I could suffer every single time I go in there.
Yep.
But I go, this is uncomfortable, but like at the end of it I feel amazing, and I feel like I've accomplished and conquered something. And so I think that's also what you can take into other aspects of your life.
Love that.
So I made up my own lightning round question last time on the spot, and I felt like it actually went really well with Pat, which will be releasing soon. It'll already be out at this time by now. But let's say Jeff Bezos calls you up, says, I hurt my back. It's not going too well. I was picking up one of our packages. You go out there, you crack his back. He's like, oh, thanks, you did a fantastic job. And he just chucks you $100 million.
Yeah.
Because, it's
Why
Jeff
not?
Bezos.
Yeah.
Are you still doing the same thing the next day? Or are you completely dropping what you're doing right now and pursuing other interests? Like, what does that look like?
I think that's a good question. I would not necessarily drop the stuff that I'm doing, but it would help me jump 3 or 4 steps. So maybe I'd go instantly into
or like 100 million steps.
Yeah, exactly. I would go quickly into like understanding acquisitions and how do I grow something, but I would still do the same core stuff, because if you don't have the core processes and like the foundations for how to run a business, it doesn't matter how many employees I have or how, because it's just going to fail. So like I still have to walk the path, but it would help me walk way faster. And I would still be in the space of health and wellness, and I would it would help me jumpstart my impact and my reach.
So for you, it sounds like you really enjoy the game of business.
Yeah.
Right? Like you wouldn't stop it even if money wasn't an object. Me and Christian always have this conversation where Christian's like, if I reach a certain amount, I'm good. I'm clocking out. I'm going
someone
to
hit me
Costa
100
Rica.
mil, I'm like, see ya.
And he's just not working anymore.
But like you still have to be, your happiness comes from accomplishment,
Right.
not from
Right.
owning stuff.
I think where that differs is I would probably spend a lot of time traveling and podcasting and
Okay. Yeah. So you're still producing. You're still working.
yeah.
You would
I
just.
don't think I could ever stop working.
Yeah.
It would just be like
It's just in a different way.
really fun work that you can throw a lot of money at. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It would just be a lot more fun, and it would be
A lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier. It'd be It'd be on a private
Just sell a
jet.
course on how to be a top G, bro.
Yeah. He shakes his head.
So I have 2 different ones that I could ask. I actually want to ask this one. I think it'd be fun. So we're golf guys, the Masters, big tournament. Every year, the winner, the next year, they get to host a dinner for all the other champions, and you get to design your menu. You
Okay.
get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. What would your Masters dinner look
Oof, Masters dinner. Appetizer. I mean, are we going fancy or are we
like?
going
Anything you want.
Because I don't, because I have some dietary restrictions, so like I don't eat like crazy fancy, but I love good Italian food too. So, I mean, for the appetizer, I would do some sort of like pasta appetizer, like small, like a small dish. Also, completely not Italian. Everyone loves fries, so I'd like some really like exquisite fries with some steak on there, like high end fries.
I'm liking it.
And then just like the best pizza you ever had. Any topping, any flavor you want as like the main entree, and then some sort of like gluten-free dessert, like some chocolate. Also, it's really hard to find gluten-free like pastries. So if you can find some really incredible gluten-free pastries.
Sounds like a good dinner, man.
Yeah, it was some espresso at the end.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
Damn,
Let's
bro,
go.
you're making me hungry.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What else do we got for the lightning round?
I have the last one actually. Real quick, I think you would blow these guys' minds. How old are you?
34.
What?
So
Yeah.
first of all, how do you? What's the secret, man? Because when I'm 34, I want to look this young.
Yeah, you know,
Also, yeah, I was thinking that too. When you were talking about, there's 4 years of school, then another 3-4 years of school. I was like,
like math,
this
shit,
guy
that's
did-
a lot.
I was like, did he just do this when he was 12?
Yeah, no. I would say one is, I mean, I always kind of had a baby face, so I matured a little bit after everyone, which I think was kind of, I think it was a benefit because I kind of had to step up. I felt like I was always a bit behind, so I matured a little bit late, and then, so good genetics, and then also like I've been gluten free and eating good since I was like 10, because like my parents are just like crazy about that.
Yeah.
And then I also have been active as an athlete since I was like 6. Like I think I played like 3 sports in high school. So active, eating well, pretty good genetics, but just like constantly on top of that. And then I don't drink a ton anymore. That ages you. And yeah.
Nice.
It's like Tom Brady, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I hope.
the question was, if you could say one thing to your 18-year-old self, what would be your piece of advice?
Learn about business way sooner.
Love that.
And understanding the impact of how much you actually need to earn and to make to not be a slave to a job or to money.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Last question is, well, first off, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, this was great.
This was really cool, man.
Yeah, man, I had a blast.
You crushed it. This was very different than, I would say, our typical guest. Like, first doctor on the show.
Yeah, hey.
First doctor on the show. Pretty cool. But where can our audience find you, follow you, learn more about your story, the work that you do? Just get involved with, everything that you're working on.
Yeah. My main platform would be Instagram, and that is at Dr. Sterling. So it's kind of spelled, it's all spelled out like on my hat. Same handle for TikTok, same handle for YouTube. And then just, I would say that I'm going to be adding more to my website. That's also my website name. I've gotten pretty good at the branding, which is good. So all Dr. Sterling, but it's just all spelled out. Yeah. And then I'm pretty responsive on all my platforms. Like I respond pretty much to everybody that is like genuine and like an actual person, that has a genuine, like question. Like I respond to other people that are in chiropractic school all the time. Like, hey, I got a question about blogs.
That's
like,
cool.
I'm glad you responded. I was like, of course, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I enjoy doing that. That's how I would say they could stay connected.
Awesome, man.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I got to sneeze, so this would be good. No, I actually do.
Yeah, one time I was talking and he just on purpose sneezes.
No, I didn't.
Dude, that was so
not on purpose,
Yes,
bro. I had to sneeze.
Oh my god.
How could
All
you
right.
sneeze that loud? If like, why would I do that?
All right, this is
But I'll say I appreciate that you guys had me on the podcast. Of
course,
and I respect the hustle too. And I'm excited to see this podcast grow, and I hope it does awesome. And I'm always a fan of people that are able to put in the work. This is a Saturday,
Yeah.
So we're here on a Saturday, and I think you guys will do awesome. So I appreciate you guys having me on as well.
Of course, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
What we love to do.
Sweet.
So,
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good stuff, bro.
All right, guys. Later.
Great stuff, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Sit this guy.